everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the World Explorer podcast, because not only is this week celebrating us doing this for 1 year, but it is also our 50th episode, so we have 2 milestones in one video, and therefore Isaac, the prompt master, has this really incredibly cool world for us to build, hopefully. I did warn him, so he should have a cool idea for this world to build for our 50th 1 year anniversary.
I have been waiting literally nearly a year to give this prompt. Like, I have had this prompt since the beginning. And the prompt is, what if our worlds collide? And what if we built a world where we combine our previous worlds into one?
Wait, I have to get our YouTube channel up now.
What?
I have to get our YouTube channel up so I have like all the titles and stuff. There's 49.
Yes.
There's 49 episodes for us to go through. Minus whatever the heck, how many we have of world building basics. But we did that later in the year, so there's not that many of those.
Episode 1. Everyone has a memory elevator. Okay, so how do we fit this one? I guess we'll set that as our baseline. Good, done. The world where everyone has a memory elevator, you travel through your memories and other people's memories via elevator. Everyone has one. Good. Let's move on to the next one.
It was more like there's one central one that people can use. You have access to one.
Yeah.
You don't have your own.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, there's that. So why is it called Everyone Has a Memory Elevator? I don't remember.
Because
I think we're
it's
remembering
more
it differently.
clickbaity.
Oh. Anyway, so next one. World is now mini asteroids. Okay, so let's say that this elevator how would this fit into the world of asteroids?
Okay, so what we could have, I think thinking about like other worlds that we have to get through, I think we'll have one big giant world, but now there are mini worlds of asteroids circling around this one big world, kind of like moons, and we can have societies living on those asteroids.
Okay.
And I think the big thing about mini asteroids was the gravity was weird. So
yeah,
like,
the gravity is all messed up.
Yeah, so it would that's the thing we'd keep for the mini asteroids cycling around this main planet, is that the gravity is weird there.
Okay. And then, but if we've got all these different societies, are we saying that each society is a different world that we've created? Because that seems really boring. We basically just created a galaxy at that point.
No, I'm just saying, like, some of our worlds, they kind of need their own little planet to live on, because that's kind of, we built an entire planet, and then we have this big central world where ones that aren't planet size live together. So, like, the memory elevators in this main central one.
Okay, yeah, so we got, so basically how about it looks more like this. We've got our main central world, it's one giant world, but then around it, it's got like 1,000 moons. And
well, there have to be mini asteroids.
Those moons could really actually be just small pockets of asteroids that are floating so close together that they look like one giant solid rock, but really they're a bunch of asteroids just floating around the Earth, and you can have societies living on these different pockets of asteroids. Did I explain it well, or are you confused?
No, I think I get it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so next one. Weird take on a fantasy world. Oh yeah, this one was a 2-parter.
Yeah, well, they're pretty much the same. We can combine
kill
those.
2 birds with 1 stone.
Exactly.
Okay, so this one had dragons, dwarves, greenwood elves, magic milk,
fairies,
urine,
glass and then mer people, fish people. There are more fish people than mer people.
Do we want to include everything from this world or from all the different worlds? Because that's a lot to fit into.
No, I think we should focus on like an element from each world we like and put it in there. So like, the whole thing with the mini asteroids is we liked the mini asteroids and the weird gravity, so that's what's in this world. The thing with the elevator is the elevator. It's the big thing.
Well, there's only one thing in that world.
Yeah, it's the elevator. So a weird take on a fantasy world. The thing, I guess the Kirin were the biggest thing that we had in that world, so maybe that being an animal in this main planet would make most sense.
Yeah, I mean, the Greenwood Elves, I think, were a little bit bigger than the Kirin.
True.
The glass fairies were a really cool concept, but I don't know if they didn't play as big a role.
Yeah. I know, maybe keeping both the Kirin and the Greenwood Elves together, because after all, the Greenwood Elves are the keepers of the Kirin. Which means that this world has access to the memory milk. Or, right, no.
Yeah.
The
magic milk.
The magic milk. It judged your character, right? And then it turned you into a tree if you were a bad person.
Which, something I somehow didn't mention in that episode, real quick, was that Kirin, in the original mythology, were actually judges of character, and if they deemed you unworthy, they would breathe a bunch of fire in your face.
Yeah, except this is just milk instead, and they don't breathe fire.
Yeah.
But it is cool that we did that.
The one that actually came up with the whole judgment thing, which is interesting because that was the original mythology, and then I just completely forgot about it, so I didn't mention it.
Yeah. Yep. So
yeah, that's
it's true to the original Kirin. It just got a really weird twist, which is the point of the video.
Milk.
I love the magic milk, so that's in the world now, so we can keep that in mind. Living on clouds with our puffs. I think the puffs are what should be incorporated.
That's just the sky.
Well, I think weather being controlled. Yeah, the weather being controlled by puffs would make sense. It could be fun. I know we have some other building elements.
You could have the entire society that lives in the sky.
Oh, that's true.
And on the clouds.
Yeah, they just all live there.
Why not? Like, the sky is available.
Yeah.
Let's use it.
Yeah. We have human-level intelligent dragons that live in, like, their own little homes. The
original idea was humans are replaced with dragons. I don't like that episode. Don't go listen to it. It went horribly. But yeah, humans are replaced with dragons. Do we want to say, like, all the humans are replaced with dragons, or we just want to incorporate human intelligence?
I think dragons that want to live like humans or just exist in this world and they have a village somewhere.
Oh, fast forwarding. We have a future episode where there's traveling towns on the backs of dragons.
We do,
We could have those dragons be the same types of dragons. Like, just give those dragons human-level intelligence.
Yes, and then they travel in towns co-living with humans instead.
Yes. Okay, so they got that done. Now, flying narwhals that grant wishes and throw potatoes at you.
Look, I know you want the crazy version, but I think the narwhals of the Making a Ridiculous World Make Sense version would fit better in what we're about to do. Where you have wishes, you have the wish making and stuff like that, but the narwhals at the end of the day can say no.
Okay, so where do the narwhals live? Do we still have the giant floating island? Is that one of the floating societies around the Earth?
It could be. I think that would make sense because then you'd have to like travel and hunt for it.
Yeah, it'd be a very distant.
You'd have to work for it. I think working for the narwhals is a good thing to have in the world.
Yeah, so the narwhals are up very high in the sky. Maybe you actually have to get past the cloud barrier that where the puffs are to reach there in the first place. I don't know.
It could be like an ultimate quest goal. Like you live in this really crazy world of all these epic things, and your main goal is to get to the narwhals to get your wish, but you're starting in the center of the earth, where the earth is turned inside out. And you're crawling your way up. Because this society, I'm pretty sure this is the only underground society we have, Worldbuild. So they can just live in the center of the earth.
Oh yeah, and we have the earth is inside out thing. So yeah, we got, this is where the gravity's getting even weirder. Because now the earth is just like hollowed out. And there's people living inside the earth. This is... Well, you have to keep in mind, the technology in this world... The next one.
Yeah, the technology in this world is very superior. So I'd imagine they'd have technology to keep the... They hollow... At this point, I think we changed the lore to this one, where they ran out of space. A lot of craziness is happening. So they hollowed out the earth, and they built the society in, and there's machines and stuff that is keeping the world from falling apart.
Ooh, what if that's what the where all the different moons came from?
Oh, they're just the chunks of the inside?
They just chucked it into orbit around the planet and then built other civilizations on them.
I love that. That's such a good idea. Why is this making sense?
This wasn't supposed to make much sense. Like, but if it turns out epic, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So we have the door. That can just exist. The door that shows you
the door that shows you your fears. That just exists. It teleports around. People walk into it. It shows you your fears and then spits you out.
Yeah, and I think we can kill two birds with one stone again with this one. And going way forward to 2 weeks ago, we have the world building a shattered mirror dimension. That's the same. Like, this mirror exists in this world and it shows. And so this is pretty much in this world. You have items that like show you deep, dark parts of yourself randomly, if you be so unlucky or lucky, depending on your point of view. So we have in this world, dreams affects reality is next.
Yes. And now fast forwarding once again, we just recently did an episode that was actually inspired by this episode, where dream catchers can catch dreams. Like, people can like basically harvest their dreams using dream catchers.
So I think it would be fun to combine it with the memory elevator, and just keep in mind this is a world where people's, I don't know, I guess they're at such a level of intelligence that their dreams and their mental states and the things they're thinking and their memories are affecting their physical world, like, highly. It's the reason why the doors now exist and the mirror exists. They're just, we're at this different level of thought that it's just affecting everything.
Including the giant flying narwhals that grant wishes.
Yeah, like, this world is magical and crazy, but it's just because people's ideas, I guess, like, over centuries and centuries and centuries, people's dreams and ideas have been growing and combining, and suddenly, like, things are coming out of it.
Yeah, so is there still, like, a dream world in this world, like, where you can actually fall asleep and wake up in a different realm? Or is this,
I mean, we never built that. In the world dreams affect reality, it was more like you could go and visit people in the world via dreams.
Yeah, like it was basically you think about it was basically everybody had a lucid dream.
Yeah,
kind of, but not really. Like, you had to be able to, like, lucid dream to really be aware of everything.
Yeah.
Is the regular world similar, or is there a second world where it is actually like that? Or do people's thoughts and imaginations actually affect everything around them in the real world?
I think it's in the real world, just because that gives us a lot of freedom of how things are run and made, and, like, if we jump skip online life on pause for a moment and go to, like, a world powered by emotions, it's getting to the point where people have learned how to harness their emotions for, like, technology and stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
So maybe this is something where, with enough willpower, anyone could do anything.
Literally, yes. Literally.
So, like, maybe it's just that it requires such a large amount of willpower and desire
and hard work and something.
Stuff. Yeah, it's hard work, and so it's not like everybody can do literally anything. It's there will be a few people who can do a few set things because they really, really want certain things.
Yeah.
So it's like, for example, I can maybe want the temperature outside to raise 3 degrees, but because I don't desire it to a ridiculous point where I'm like, I must have this warmer temperature, it's not going to change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued how we're going to add, so people living life based on your online life, that's a world now. That's like a mini pocket dimension also that exists here. Which is
that's like an extra thing that's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's there. You can go and jump into it if you want to. The whole idea was just that you have your online profile, and that profile lives in its own world and is doing its own weird, crazy things.
Yeah, the goal was to create a cyberspace, but it didn't turn out quite the way.
It went a different direction, which is fine.
Yeah, it's still kind of a cyberspace, but it's not exactly.
Okay, how the heck...
What the original plan was.
How the heck do we add a sun that produces darkness?
That's the core of the Earth?
Like in the inside of the world? Like those people living...
Yes.
They have a sun that just... Well, I don't know, because like
and then everything is illuminated by the crystals.
Yeah, so it's just really dark down there, I guess. But the thing is, like, this is an entity, though.
In the Earth.
It's just dark because it's the center of the Earth. This is what the sun was like a thing. Do we just have... yeah.
I don't know, because, like, where does the sun fit that doesn't disrupt the entire world?
Exactly. This is the first one where I feel like a little, like, can we actually get this one in? I feel bad to leave it out.
We are gonna do it.
Yeah, it's such a nice world. It's gotta be in here. So the whole premise of this world was that instead of the sun producing light, it produces darkness, and people, because of that, developed the ability to see in the dark, or some did. And, like, I don't know, the darkness acted like light. It was very straight, and everything was naturally lit already. So I guess what we can have is we can kind of just shrink it, or make it like an entity that exists in this world that's just like a dark shadow. I don't know. I mean, it's still pretty world destructive, but it's not quite as bad.
Yeah, there could be an area. Maybe one of the civilization, or maybe one of the civilization areas. Maybe there is a mini sun up there. Maybe this is something that once was the core of the Earth, and then they found a way to transport it into orbit, and it's somewhat encased in rock, and so as it's orbiting the Earth, it's producing this constant shadow, almost this constant area where it's draining light, wherever it goes as it orbits the Earth.
Light.
So, what?
That was kind of like the idea, was that it kind of like ate light, wasn't it? Like every...
Yeah. Yeah, and so as it's going around the Earth, it's acting kind of like a flashlight shining down, except wherever it shines, it absorbs light, or and it produces darkness.
So pretty much what we have
it wouldn't
is
last necessarily for super long, but
we
it's
just
there.
have a weird eclipse that occurs, like that you can add as a story element.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like an eclipse type thing, but it's like total darkness.
It's like complete darkness.
Like your fireplace goes out, but it doesn't actually go out. Like that's what we're talking. It's
like you can see this blue ring of fire up in the sky, but that's about it.
Yeah.
As it just circles around.
Okay, now we have time travel, but time travels through you.
Ah!
Yeah. Let's throw in the time travel element.
Okay, so we've already established in this world, in this time travel world, that there's basically the three different realms. I don't know what you would call them. Three different areas.
Yeah, we have the
where
dream
you have
realm.
what has happened, what will happen, and what is happening.
Yeah.
And that's where the time's traveling through you. It goes from what has happened through the present and through you to what will happen, or vice versa. Now, those two pocket realms or whatever, I think those can exist. But then the time traveling element, we were saying that, didn't we say that it was like stones or something that people could use?
I mean, I think the thing that we need to keep in mind with this time travel is that you don't actually move through time. So, like, time, it's weird. So what it is like you can de-age yourself or increase your age, but you still stay in... So, like, I'm 22, and the date is... It's February. But what I can do is I can make myself now, like, 36, but still be in February of this year. That was the premise of it. So the fact that a few of these stones exist, I don't think will break the world.
Okay, where do they come from? Because I don't think we actually established that. I think we started to, and then we ended the episode. I don't remember. I think I said something about ancient creatures, the bones of ancient creatures that died.
I mean, the thing is that this world already has a origin story. It has how the jungle made is that this entire universe we've created has a person who came along and made the world in his weird way. Like, one guy made this entire world.
Is that the jungle guy?
Yeah, the jungle guy is responsible for all of this.
Yeah, the guy who made the jungle decided he was going to create an entire world.
And this is
the thing is, the way that... Okay, we are skipping ahead a little bit here, but the way that the guy made the world was he took elements and parts of the world that already existed and combined them to make the jungle.
Oh, that's true.
So how did he create this world out of nothing? Or did he have resources beforehand?
Okay, so maybe he didn't actually create the world. Maybe this guy is just able to create new environments. Like, I don't know, like he's a demigod on it. Because we have 2 world-creating gods on this list. We have the jungle guy and we have the chef guy. From the Emu world.
Oh, how is he... We'll figure out where he is in this when we get to that world. But for right now, time traveling through you, the stones that move time through objects.
Actually, wait. So remember how we have the elevators? It could be like a byproduct of that, like something that occurred from like traveling through your memory so much. You get because you're moving through other people's timelines. And time's still going for you when you're in the past memories. It's like watching TV. So, that technology already exists with the elevators. It wouldn't be that surprising for people to find a way to turn that technology then into, like, stones, which allow you kind of age forward and age back. And if I remember correctly, there's, like, serious consequences of pain and experiencing all the pain you're going to experience and stuff. Like, it wasn't a pleasant experience to age back and age forward. So...
Yeah, it wasn't exactly an overpowered ability.
Yeah. So I think that's where it came from. It's whatever thing is creating like the memory elevator devices and the dream recording devices. There's a big company here that is creating like the thing that hollowed off the earth. Some giant company has come in and has created a bunch of really cool technology. But,
keep in mind, in this world, you can, if you wish hard enough, you get a thing. You can get whatever you want if you just desire it enough. And then you have the narwhals, which would basically be an easier wish, where you can get whatever you want.
Yeah, you have to get their approval.
Yeah, you have to get their approval. But that's where you could change the temperature by 3 degrees if you really wanted to. But
why?
I would wish for something a little bit better than that.
Can you remind me what the deadly fog was about? Is that the mountain one? That's the mountain one.
Yeah, that one was the mountain. There was a bunch of mountains, and then below the mountains there were these valleys where they were covered in a thick fog that weighed you down, drained you of your strength. There were these stingray creatures that would fly, swim through the fog, and glide through it. They would spin around with their circular mouths and teeth that would shred through you. They had glowing blue eyes. It was very horrifying.
That's just a biome. One of many that this world has. That's a biome that this world has, I think.
We did a lot of biome building.
We did, well, I mean, that's a fun thing to do. We're world...
Okay, so...
Yeah. And peaceful animals. Those animals can just live in the world.
Wait, so are we just sticking with the biome, or are we doing something more interesting with the deadly fog?
I mean, at the same, I don't want the fog to spread throughout the world, because that's just asking for chaos. We already have a sun-sucking thing that circles the planet.
Yeah,
and we could we could still have our 2 societies living on the mountain trap there and stuff. And now, though, we also have like dragons that can fly them in between, so they're not really stuck anymore. Yeah. So that element's it can't exist in this world. That element's just not possible to have because there's easy ways to travel places. But I mean, what we could add is like how the deadly fog come, and even like the sun that produces darkness. Like these deadly things, are they the things like coming out of the center of the earth?
Maybe. We could just make the center of the earth like the land of all evil and horror and death, where just all sorts of crazy things. Maybe this is Banker Satan's doing.
Oh, it could be Banker Satan.
This is all Banker Satan's doing, and the center of the earth is where Banker Satan lives.
Well, I was thinking Well, we have a center of the earth society that's really cool that I'd like to keep in the center, but I do like the idea that, like, mining out the earth has consequences, and none of us really know we kind of know what's in the center, but in this planet no one actually knew, and when they started tossing chunks out of the earth and back into the atmosphere, they got things like something that was sucking out the sunlight, and then also like this deadly fog swarmed, and they managed to confine it into an area. And out of that deadly fog came the creatures and stuff, because they're cool, and I want them in the world, even though they creep me out.
Yeah, sometimes they could just have the fog, like, take place. Wait, wasn't there a mist in the world that we built for the Inside Out Earth? There was already, like, a fog in that created electricity to power the world.
Oh, yeah. So that could just be what part of the deadly fog. So the deadly fog's also in the center of the earth, but it now also kind of found a filter out that you know how.
Okay, yeah. So they dug a hole, like a little tunnel, to try and spit all of the fog out, and that's what's producing the fog. Because it's just this constant stream from the center of the earth coming up like a geyser on the surface, covering an area.
Yeah, but they managed to contain it, so it's not like spreading too bad, and these razor scary creatures can't live outside the fog, so they're safe in there.
Yeah, I mean that razor scary stingray creature does sound like something from hell.
Can we just agree that the world is 99% water? That is just a thing that someone wished for, and it's just floating in the earth. And it was like they caught the narwhals on a good day. And the narwhals are like, you want this?
We could call that one of the things that's floating around the earth is just a ball of water.
Well, yeah, and there was like a little piece of land where the Frog King lives.
Yeah. Now, in order to him, so that it doesn't feel isolated, how does this affect the world, or how does he interact with the world?
Well,
okay, so we got the cloud people.
Yeah.
The cloud civilization. Clouds need water to be made. Maybe one of the things that they do is they get their rainwater from this ball of water? I don't know.
Like they've connected themselves to it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to make this useful.
I mean, other than being like a cool thing in the sky to explore.
I mean, yeah, but it feels like it could easily be forgotten and ignored.
Yeah, I mean, we have the fish that live there too that are very intelligent. So we have to keep that in mind, that we have smart fish, and we have the king frog, who's the king frog, I feel like he's an eternal living frog that lives on this island. I think he'll have an impact diplomatically.
Maybe he's got some sort of relation to eternal narwhals.
He might, like he's real, like he holds the secret of how to find them or something crazy like that. And you have to go talk to the frog king.
Yeah, he could do that. Where it's like he's got ties with the narwhals, where maybe the narwhals are invisible and switching the different asteroid pockets that they live on, so that nobody can mark down where they are and find them.
Yeah, but the frog part has knowledge of how to track them. Like he has I don't know, I guess he can impart upon you a gift. I mean, if we want, we can make the frog like another god figure, because it's an eternal living frog.
Yeah, what would he do?
For all we know, the frog might have actually been the creators of the narwhal. So we have these beings that like to create things. They are the ultimate beings of this world. We have 3 so far. But so the frog being one decided that this is what he wanted. Which, I mean, I'm kind of intrigued by this idea.
Maybe he created things like oceans and rivers and stuff, and then he created this little palace for himself in the sky.
Exactly. Yeah, like this little volcano thing, which is an endless cycle of water, which is really cool. And that's where he lives. And as something else he created was the narwhals, and that's how why he always knows where they are, because he created them. And
let's say that the narwhals created earth and like rocks and stuff, because they were always associated with crystals.
Yeah.
And things.
And then we have the jungle guy. I think could actually be our answer to why the deadly frog doesn't move biomes. He has the ability to force biomes to stay in one spot. And so when
I was gonna say he just makes plants.
Well, he can also do that. Like, he makes new fun creation things, and people can come to him and combine. And that's what he does. He's, I think, one of the more active I feel like all three of these gods can actually be pretty active in the world. So we have a world where gods are actively still creating things constantly.
Okay.
We have
I'm down with that, where they just keep on making stuff. And in a way, maybe these are people who in this universe have used this, have gained the ability to take this willpower thing and use it to its fullest extent, where they can just will something into existence like any normal person can, but they've practiced at it so much that they can do anything.
Yeah. And are we saying, like, those are the ones that have become these gods? Like, there's only 3, and one of them's a frog?
Yes.
I mean, 4, because we have Santa, well, I guess there's a couple, but we haven't gotten to them yet. We have others. So, but I like that idea, like, if you will it enough, you can become an internal being that constantly gets to create things. It's just a very rare thing to happen.
Yeah. It requires a whole lot of willpower. Like, there's a lot of people who don't want to die, but even those people don't have enough willpower.
Yeah. Also, intelligent zombies.
How?
We gotta. They exist.
But where do they exist? I don't think this world is populated by zombies for the most part. Because the idea of that one was the zombies populate the Earth for the most part and have taken over. And they're intelligent.
Actually, the whole idea was that the zombies kind of found a stall cure for themselves. So they're kind of internal. Okay, we have intelligent zombies, and another world where I think they would actually mix well is with the monster world, a unique take on a Halloween world. So
okay, yeah, we do have that one.
We can just throw them in with that, and it's just another district area of this world. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of having like big districts, like actually having all the fantasy creatures. And they live in their little, they have a section of the world that's theirs, and then having all of the Halloween monster worlds, they have their own section, and all of these worlds just interact with each other. And I would just throw the intelligent zombies with the monster world and just let them live there.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of these worlds should have their own separate districts, but that's really boring, because then we can solve all of this world building in an instant, just say, they're different districts, and that's it. I really want to try and get them to interact with each other as much as possible. For example, the traveling town of dragons, they would just travel between these different districts. We
do have something else that we do have to keep in mind, though, while working on this. A world that's coming up, which is going to have a huge impact, is separated heroes. Because the whole premise of the separate heroes world is that they're separate districts. But I have another solution for that, because we have quite a few worlds where storybooks, like reading, becomes almost its own thing. Like, writing out a book actually is creating a physical world. Because we have these characters know they're in a story. We have the separated heroes. And even our newest one, the knowledge-granting scrolls, kind of impacts that of, like, the power of the written word.
Okay, so...
Oh, and all the important... I think there's one where we picked random words. Yeah, a world made from random words could also kind of fit in that.
Do we want to skip ahead to that, or do we want to do the other...
That's next. A world made by random words is the next one.
Yeah, but...
Oh, we have the spaghetti universe.
Yeah, we still got the spaghetti universe.
How the heck do we fit spaghetti?
Which, just for clarification, is not a universe made of spaghetti.
No,
it's a universe made of rocks that move like spaghetti.
I think the spaghetti universe is actually... Yeah,
this was already floating in space. It's already made of rock. It feels too perfect for it to already belong floating around the Earth.
I mean, at the same time, I think the spaghetti universe... Well, if I remember, the big thing about the spaghetti universe is that this is a living entity that's breaking apart and growing and, like, changing its shape. Like, it never changes its size, it just changes its shape. And, I mean, it seems cheap to say, oh, this is just in the universe and they might interact with it one day, it might have an effect, and then just walk away from it. Like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I don't know. How would this fit in there?
I mean, do we want to shrink the creature and then just have that the creature likes to stay around Earth? And you can kind of visit it and stuff?
We could make it, make this actually the Earth, where maybe the Earth is actually changing its own shape every once in a while in certain areas. Like, rather than earthquakes like we have here and sinkholes and stuff, it would be something like that, but more extreme, like maybe a mountain will appear out of nowhere.
So now we're saying the Earth is a living creature, which, you know, we do have the living volcanoes to fit in, so that could be a thing. But we now have a world in which a living creature has been hollowed out for more space.
Yes, and so now maybe that could be part of it, is like when people start mining away at a part of the Earth, it says, ouch, that hurts, and then just moves itself away and forces itself outward. And so now you've got this mountain that's grown because people started hitting it from the inside. It's just trying to avoid being attacked.
It could also explain, like, why we have a bunch of these things that seem really weird coming out of it, like the sun darkness and the fog, because that's just, like, the fog is the Earth's breath. And it just hasn't brushed its teeth ever, so, you know.
Okay, so it's not the fog from hell.
No, it would be, like, and then we also have, like, the volcanoes, which produce, the whole thing is that they produce blood, and spew blood out, which makes sense that the Earth's a living thing. Which I remember was, like, one idea we were playing with it, was that it was actually just part of a living Earth. Now, it actually is. We can say it actually is, and that's where these blood-spewing volcanoes come in. It's the Earth bleeding because it got mined inside out.
Yeah, that was one of the original ideas, was that the Earth was alive for some world building.
Well, now it is.
Yeah, I guess, like, it's made it in here. Like, I was saving that for potentially a future episode if I could come up with.
I mean, we could still do another where that's just a thing, but, like,
way. We could.
Yeah, like, that option's still there. But this also means that a lot of these societies kind of have to learn to work together and live together because they're always under the constant threat of the Earth just being like, hey, actually, that mountain, I think it looks better over there.
Like, you could kick a mountain a little bit, and from kicking the mountain, it just slowly starts scooching away.
Yeah. But it doesn't change. But I don't think mining the inside out killed the Earth for obvious reasons. We don't have much of a story. So the Earth can take a beating, but that could also be why, like, the pieces of the Earth are so determined to stay close together, is because they're part of the same being, and so they're still beyond gravity, which is weird in this world for many reasons. It just connected to each other because they're living things, which would explain why a spaghetti universe would become created out of the Earth's insides. Because you have this living thing and you've scooped it out and dumped it into the world, but it's still got life in it because it doesn't lose its life. So now you have this creature that's circling around the Earth as well, so we could still have, like, a mini spaghetti universe too.
So it could be, like, kind of like, keep in mind, everything that's circling around the world, all these different moons, are part of the Earth. So it's kind of like when you cut a limb off of a tree and then you plant it, it can grow. Or when you cut a worm in half, both halves will keep on going and then grow basically a second worm on them, and then you can cut them in half again and again.
I want someone to draw this world, please. I don't have the skill. But it sounds like, get one of those really big map things and just have images, like little pieces from all our different universes.
This is, like, 50 things. I am less. Probably not fitting more than 7 in the thumbnail.
I have no clue how I'm doing the thumbnail. Or doing the, you guys know how I did it because I did it, but I'll figure that out later. Okay, so we have the world made from random words. So what is our thoughts on, like, a story realm? Because we do have realms in this world.
A story realm. Okay, so I think that rather than having a story realm, maybe this entire place could sort of be a story realm. Maybe this is where we throw in another creator person, demigod-like guy.
Oh, the writer! The writer from These Characters Know They're in a Story.
Yeah. And we take him, and we put him in this world, and he's maybe writing in, different... Maybe he creates life. Like, he creates the creatures that roam the earth.
Okay, so we have the guy from the jungle is creating, the plants and stuff, and then we have the frog who is creating the physical elements of the world, and now we have the writer who is producing the people and animals and stuff that are living in it. And he's doing that via story, so like a world made by Random World is him, and that just means that in this world everyone's the character of a story and they all know it because they all know who this god guy is.
Yeah.
So it's the psychological concept. We're all well aware we're part of a story.
Yeah, and the world, like, with it's made of random words, because that was what we were actually trying to work with. What if we still included the tree? Because the tree was it connected to the underworld, if I could remember correctly.
Yeah, it was.
And we already built an underworld in a later episode.
Honestly, I like the idea that this tree might actually become the hangout place of the gods, like where they have their big meeting. Because they're not very... I feel like some communication has to occur between all of them, so that way the whole universe just doesn't explode into millions of pieces. So it wouldn't surprise me if they have like a yearly meeting and this tree is where they meet. And because the tree could be the door to the underworld, which we're going to have a god character come out of the underworld, and it's also like, I don't know, the tree was just cool, a little creepy, but it was also where people and life was created out of, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So the idea, and then like the keeper of the tree would be the writer, would be the one who keeps the tree and make sure it's, it's doing okay.
So what else we got?
You can bottle anything.
You can bottle everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess this is just a thing where it's just another quirk of this world. You can stick whatever you want in a bottle and keep it for later, whether it's wind or warm weather, I don't know, light,
it's
dirty
expensive,
laundry.
It's hard to get, it's not, I don't think this should be something, we have a lot of weird technology things, but again, in a world where people can wish for whatever they want or dream up things that they want and then they become physical, a bottle that bottles anything is gonna show up, I'm sure.
Do you have any idea how chaotic this world is?
I think it's so chaotic to the point that it actually works.
Somehow.
It
might be something similar to Discworld. I don't know. I haven't actually read Discworld.
I haven't either. I know. Yeah, but I feel like that's where we're going. Because we have the World of Ice, which I know we were talking about how we don't really care for biomes, but this is a biome.
Yeah, that's just a biome. That's all we built there. We literally just built a biome, like jungle biome, the ice world biome.
Biomes and worlds are important. You don't have a world without biomes.
We have a world of sand.
Well, we have the fun whirlpools too with those. But that probably is also a biome, yes.
Yeah, okay, anyway, so, World of Ice, I guess it's a biome. We could just keep the ice creatures. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, we recently built a world with, different areas, the elemental world, and one of those biomes was ice. So we can just chuck in the triangle head ice creatures in with that ice.
Okay, the elemental world building, I think it's going to be extremely important to this world, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that went into that.
Yeah, that one's we need to discuss that for a while. So, the next one is a new type of afterlife, and then which kind of pairs up with the one that's after, because we already established the characters know they're in a story, which is an underworld, but the devil is a banker.
This is somewhere in between. This is more like limbo, kind of. It's somewhere in between.
Yeah, the
afterlife and in the physical world, like. I think we can just add this as another plane of existence.
Yeah, the afterlife exists in this world. It's run by Satan, who is a banker. And Satan, though, is one of these god figures. He can come in and out of the world, and he also gives those who have passed away access to going back to the world as spirits and demons. I think we also had a heaven. It just wasn't as interesting.
We're just like, yeah, it's your standard heaven.
Yeah, so, like, you have options to where your spirit goes, but, yeah, so the new type of afterlife is your limbo, which then leads you to getting to either heaven or this hell, which is where you meet Satan the banker, who is one of these god creators, who I guess creates souls. Like, he's in charge of managing souls, and therefore he created them. So he kind of partners up with the writer. They're pretty good buds, despite doing very different things.
This might be one of those classic situations where it's like, devil wants to destroy, writer wants to create, and anything writer creates, devil destroys, like out of Ruby or something.
I don't know, but I feel like the Satan guy, though, is, I guess, kinda, but at the same time, he is preserving what the writer is creating by preserving their souls.
That's true.
So, I don't think it's all malice.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, we do have to fit separate heroes in somehow.
Yeah, we'll get to the...
It's next.
Oh, no.
We're here.
We're there, because we gotta skip over a few... We're there.
Hi.
Are we not going to world build the devil banker thing anymore? We're just saying he exists, and hell exists in the center of the world?
He exists in his own plane of dimension in the afterlife with the spirits, and he runs that, and he's
another plane of existence.
There's a lot. Well, what did you expect was going to happen here? They all interact with each other, which at the end of this we'll discuss a bit more of that for a little bit. But he's one of the. How many do we have now? We have the frog, the writer, the jungle man, and now we have the devil. So far we have 4 god characters.
The narwhals.
The narwhals aren't god characters, though. They just aid the frog in his creation.
Okay.
Because it's a frog. Okay. It needs help.
Okay,
I love the idea that one of our god characters is a frog.
Both things. Okay, so heroes and villains. Separated by
this
walls
is a cool
and barriers
world.
that
I just
change
don't
the
know.
realms. I don't know. How? This breaks the entire world.
Okay, we need... Okay, can we have like a one pass where this is just like a book series or like one of the most popular book series in this world or TV series in this world?
It's lazy. Once you do one pass, you suddenly say you're allowed to do others.
Yeah, okay, so then we have to incorporate this in.
There's gotta be some way we can get this in there.
Alright, idea. We forgo the hero and villain part and just focus on the barriers that were created.
Okay, so maybe the barriers lead to different biomes?
Yeah, well, that could be how we keep some of these biomes really separated, is these barriers. Because remember, this is a world with extremely advanced technology. We're making memory-related things and just a lot of crazy cool stuff. So the idea that they would have barriers that help keep things like the deadly fog and the sand whirlpools that we'll be adding in later that just suck you out, or this or like ice and stuff like that. Like there's lots of biome things that like to spread. So I'd imagine that one of the first things you'd want to invent is something to contain those biomes. Or even like the monster world, having that be a world where they've actually locked them up to keep them contained.
Ooh, I like that.
And so
now you've got the story of them trying to escape.
Yeah, or you meet up with a monster and that's a whole big deal.
Yeah, or there's like a little leak or a little hole in the wall somewhere that they're starting to escape through.
Yeah. So that's a fun element. So we have that from the heroes and villains. We have something.
Just barriers. They're not everywhere like in the heroes and villains. They're just here and there for the more dangerous things to keep them from destroying the world.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds good. Next one.
Now we get to introduce a new god figure, which is the chef.
My gosh! How?
Number 5. God number 5.
How? And or we could just throw in the giant emus.
I like that we have like these creator things and stuff. So I still like it. I want to incorporate the chef into this world somehow.
Okay, but what does he do?
Alright, so we know in this, the people live on the Clairs and civilization on food. He creates life on food, and then he likes to watch from afar and stuff as people interact. He likes making things happen to people to make them do things that entertain him. He likes creating stories more so than characters.
Even more than the writer?
Well, the writer is a character creator, I think is what we kind of developed. He creates characters. So he's more focused on people and new animals and new species, but someone has to be running the story.
Okay.
So the idea of he's called the chef because people know he likes to play with food in weird ways.
It's one of his weird cooks up stories?
That too, he cooks up stories.
Maybe he likes to take the Jungle Guy's creations and amp them up, bring them to insane levels. So every once in a while, he'll just take the Jungle Guy's creation and be like, "Oh, you made a banana? Well, now it's a giant banana boat."
Yeah, I also think he might be someone who he sees a person on the street and he's like, "You are now the new chosen one. I just poked a hole in the monster world. Go fix it." And then disappears. Like, he's just chaos.
This is Loki.
Yeah. Except more power.
Yeah, way more power. Just pure chaos.
Yeah, I think
he seems like he could be a very fun character.
I think he would. I think he'd be a driving force of the stories, even if you don't know. I also think he'd get way too involved in the stories. Like, he'd start actually helping heroes out unintentionally, and you can never tell if he's a villain or like a good guy because he just wants things to be interesting. He lives forever. He needs entertainment.
Yeah, that could be a good way of having the characters try and figure out whose side he's on. They're like, okay, to figure out whose side he's on, we have to figure out what would make for the most interesting story. And then it gets really meta as they're trying to analyze the story that they are living in to determine what would be most interesting, to figure out what this chef is going to do to them.
But this is good, because these characters know they're in a story.
Yes!
It all fits. And now,
surprisingly well.
We have our one-trick familiars, which I think are just a fun element.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that...
Because they're not, highly useful.
That's kind of all they were just in the other one. They were just a fun little element.
Yeah, they're like the pups. They're just a really cool creature that lives around that can help or hinder the people. They're just an animal that you can be attached to or annoyed by or, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then we've got the Monster World, which we already covered the Monster World. It's just its own little location biome.
Same with red rocks and sand pools. I think it's a biome.
Actually, there is something else. I want to build the Wind Rocks sand pools a little more. Yeah. So this area with all the sand whirlpools. Keep in mind, the Earth is hollow. The original idea with the sand whirlpools was they would...
They're magical rocks that produce
They
winds.
would dig up... They would basically hollow out a part of the Earth and then push the Earth upward into these rock pillars, which we kind of already have it naturally doing as people try to dig out the Earth.
Yeah. I think, though, the main thing about this world was actually that the rocks produced wind.
Yes. I thought that the sand whirlpools were the main thing.
Well, yes, but the rocks producing wind is what was causing the sand whirlpools. It is the source of it. It was also the reason why they were mining it, because they wanted these wind producing rocks. Yeah,
so I think that they're going to try and do that again in this world.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you try and mine that?
Yeah.
It would be a difficult, slightly dangerous thing to mine, but people would still get it.
I mean, we can keep in mind that, the world is hollow, but there can be big chunks and thick layers that aren't, in which the whirlpools can live, and this might be the one area of the Earth that they just couldn't mine. For very obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's just too dangerous to mine.
Yeah. As it is, another one of these barriers is probably underneath it, protecting the land of the inside the Earth world society.
Yeah, this way it doesn't like spread from the outside in.
Yeah. And it's just a fun concept thinking of if any one of these world's barriers break down, what happens. And then, like, the idea of if your chef guy gets really, really bored, what happens if they just all shut down. And suddenly you have the fog, and it's just chaos. Like, the world is together now, but, like, if we take down... Right now, I think the most important world we've implemented is the Separated Heroes one. Because without that, everything just clashes onto each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like we were originally just gonna push that one off to the side.
Yeah. Okay, so we have sun swords and moon armor, which I guess is just we
already have a sun that produces darkness. We already have a unique sun added into this. We have the normal sun and then the unique sun. What if these sun swords that are normally forged with sunlight can only be forged with the darkness of this sun? And instead of these glowing...
Because it eats sunlight. So, it would make sense, because these swords, the whole thing with the sword was that they use sunlight to be powered, so they kind of eat sunlight to charge. So it would make sense that you'd have to kind of harvest that darkness and contain it to make this weapon.
Yeah, and instead of like, it would probably look something like the dark saber from Star Wars.
Yeah.
The lightsaber, it's like the reverse of a lightsaber. Except I imagine it having like a blue, it being like blacked out with a blue fiery rim.
I mean, I still think it would be like a yellow rim of the sunlight. Like,
I thought that we established before that the
it's constantly eating sunlight, so sunlight's still being drawn to it and then disappearing. So it would condense around the edges before it gets swallowed.
Yeah.
So that's how you get that.
Makes sense.
And then moon armor, I think, is made the same way as it is in that world.
Yeah, but keep in mind, we have a lot of moons.
We do. Well, yeah, that's a good point. It could be then that we have different types of moon armor based off of, like, where, like, making armor is unique to where you are in the world and, like, where you're traveling and what moon you're under.
Yeah, so, like, different moons, depending on what societies and things are floating around up there, could produce different things. Because basically we're just digging up the Earth, finding random, weird, dangerous things, and we're like, oh, we don't want this, throw it into orbit.
Yep, this is why you should do that.
Along with a bunch of other rocks.
Yeah. So, the idea that you get, like, different abilities depending on what you forge out of. Especially because now moon armor, keep in mind, moon armor is now living armor. Because it's actually Earth armor that you're forging. And the Earth is alive and all pieces yeah.
What it was before was it was made from the light of the moon. It wasn't the moon itself.
True. Yeah.
So I don't think that this armor would actually be alive.
Yeah, but I guess I'm thinking like there's a bit more of life force based around it. So, which would explain why it has different properties, is because the light that, you emit light and stuff, and it's kind of like you emitting your life force. Like, it's your personality and stuff, and you're emitting your personality into the world, and that's what other people are absorbing from you and, like, bouncing off of. So, because of that, this works the same way with these different pieces of Earth. And that's why you almost don't know what personality you would get from your armor until you kind of get to know it.
Okay. I might be a little bit lost. Your personality, so the armor produces...
Well, I'm just trying to explain why armor is unique depending on, like, what moon you're making it from. And that's because you have different pieces of the Earth that have developed into their own little beings circling around this main Earth. And since those Earths are unique, what they're emitting, the light they're emitting, would be unique as well, and you'd have different properties.
Okay, so yeah, let's say, for example... pretend like we threw the fog into orbit and with a bunch of rocks. Assuming we were able to do that, which we wouldn't be able to in this world. They don't have a way of doing that. But let's say that they did. What kind of armor would that create? I think that would be the most useless armor ever, because I think it would just weigh you down and drain your will.
Yeah,
like, it would. It would be like weaponized armor, like you
use it on your enemies,
you put on prisoners. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
that's you can get it on them. Like it would be fantastic for keeping prisoners in check.
Agreed.
It's like a ball and chain.
So that's kind of what it is, and then each one has a different ability according. Because the sun swords are cool, but I think in this world the moon armor would be more interesting, and you can have different effects. And it's why people keep making them, because they don't really know what they're gonna get, and they're just intrigued by that.
Yeah, it's like, here, drink this random concoction I've made up. What does it do? Who knows? Let's find out. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, kind of like that. And then we've already...
We're not growing a third limb, or a third arm. It's like, yeah, that might happen. Yeah. What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Anyway, so next one.
We've already done the blood volcanoes. We just established the Earth is living and therefore volcanoes spew its blood.
Yeah, pretty the volcanoes might move around sometimes.
Yeah. It's a pretty simple one. Now we have, I think, the sixth and looking forward, final spirit.
Santa Claus.
It's indeed. Well, actually, I guess...
Well, we've also got Tanas, so there may be two.
So 7. So we'll have 7 total, because we have Tanas and Santa.
Okay, so we've got 2 where we built Santa. Why don't we just make, like, our first version of Santa, also the spirit version of Santa, and then throw in Tanas?
Yeah. Well, what we have is we have the North Pole, and then we have Santa's backstory type thing. So the origin story, I mean, can exist if you want. Like, it's not that impactful to the world. Like, you just have Santa's origin story. But Tanas and Santa and the North Pole being a thing is important, because the whole idea about them is that these two are powered by, I think it was like the spirit of giving and selfishness. So self-sacrifice and selfishness, which means that these are 2 gods that they only exist. They rely on creation to actually keep them powered. They're not creating creation. Creation is creating them.
Okay, so what do they do then?
Which almost makes me think they're not actually a god, so we kind of just stick with our 5. And these 2 are just things that were created by creation. We created them. They're like the Narwhals.
Okay, so what do they do?
I mean...
What is their purpose in this world?
So, I don't know, encourage giving and...
They just do normal things that Santa and...
Honestly, I just think this world has Christmas.
Yeah, this world just has a Santa!
It has who gives gifts, and then also a Canas who, gives you coal and does, like, punishes your selfishness, and... You're good.
Yes, and the North Pole! That's where that's our ice biome. We're at the elemental thing, and the world of ice, so we've got, it's all in the North Pole!
Yeah.
And rather than elves, he has the little magnetized ice creatures.
Oh, yes, and they're helping him out with stuff. And,
and in this world, Santa can't deliver electronic gifts.
Yeah.
Because everything's magnetic.
And I also...
Ask him for a PlayStation.
So instead of, like, in our world, Christmas is, like, also a celebration of the birth of Jesus, I feel like in this world, it is just a celebration of Santa and giving. And being selfless.
It would be. Like, this world, we've rewritten all of religion.
It revolves around a frog, a chef, a writer, a devil. I'm missing one. Oh, and a jungle man.
Yeah.
So if they want a holiday dedicated to the spirit, the literal embodiment of giving, and because we've noticed in this world we actually have a lot of things that embody emotions, because we have the fear door and we have the personality mirror, so it would make sense that we also have, like, giving and selfishness are also manifesting themselves into actual beings now, because again, the big thing combining this world is that our imaginations, our minds, our dreams, our desires are so strong that they're creating literal life, including Santa Claus and Canas. So,
okay, I think that works.
Yeah, they're in there now.
Okay, so next one, our most popular world yet, somehow.
Vegetarian cavemen.
Vegetarian cavemen.
Vegetarian cavemen.
I don't know why this is our most popular. Then it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess we got cavemen.
Isaac, did you notice something? We don't have, like, meat eating a thing. We can just make it not a thing. Ignoring the zombies. What? But, like, none of our worlds rely on beings being able to eat meat.
Huh.
They don't. Like, if we want this world to be vegetarian, it can be.
We could do that.
It doesn't change anything, really. Nothing changes.
Huh. I guess, yeah, I guess everybody's just vegetarian and thinks that all life is sacred.
Because it is.
Except for your story's villain, and maybe the chef.
Yeah, well, the chef has his own issues. Yeah.
The chef has all kinds of problems.
He does.
Like,
but yeah,
anyway,
we're just all vegetarian. The idea of eating meat has never come across a single being's mind. Like, it's just not a fathomed thing.
Like, and even the idea, like, it's just gross to them. Like, why would you
that's why, like, the
that?
Monsters are put in their own world. Like, they do the ultimate sin. They eat each other somewhat. Like, the zombies and stuff. Yeah. Like, they've committed the ultimate sin. And therefore, we just don't talk to them, and they live in their own quarantined area. But at the same time, it's why we haven't destroyed them. Because we value life so much that we're unwilling to destroy these creatures that don't value life. So we've just separated them from us.
Okay, this thing that I'm about to add in doesn't really change anything, but I think it's interesting. What if you were to perform cannibalism, do you become a monster and are sent to the monster
Probably.
area?
That could be how... Yeah, that could be like the ultimate punishment. Either that or you're turned into a tree.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Like, whichever's closer, the monster realm or magic milk from a Kirin.
Exactly. Whatever happens. Yeah, and then I think we've already kind of talked about the Dreamcatcher being part... Like, the dream realm is a realm, and the Dreamcatcher is just another way to access that realm into the real world.
Yeah.
Like, an easier way to do it. Honestly, and so we have two, I think, left. Can we save elemental creatures last? Because I think that's gonna have a big impact.
Okay,
and just real quick, do knowledge scrolls.
What about the we already did the Shattered Mirror.
Yeah, the Shattered Mirror is a success, yeah. I think knowledge scrolls is actually a pretty simple addition, because, we're manifesting memories and ideas and stuff. Why not knowledge? Like, this is just a way to trade knowledge. Yeah,
it's just another quirk of the world.
It is.
Like
bottling
it's just
things.
another one of those elements that's just everywhere.
Yeah.
And that people can do.
Yep. Okay.
But it would be another thing where, because we said in this world that you need to sort of train yourself to have the willpower to do things, and in this knowledge scroll world, you had to sort of train yourself or be trained in the ways of transferring knowledge from one person to another. So I think it all works really well.
I agree. I think this is a cool element that actually fits. All of this is fitting, and I don't know how to feel about it.
I don't know. Why? It shouldn't. But the knowledge scroll world and the vegetarian cavemen should not be able to combine with a willow tree that eats your soul.
The sad part is that the vegetarian caveman was one of the easiest things to add.
Somehow.
Okay,
so final world. The elemental creatures.
Because this has some really big elements. For one, we have the soul creators.
Oh, no, we got more! There's more gods!
No,
How many gods are there going to be?
No, soul creators should just be on the level of narwhals. And Santa and Canas. They were created. I'm just trying to think, like, how they fit, since we do have, like, an afterlife and stuff like that.
We create in this world. We made it so that the souls are repurposed and reused over and over, and they're only for these different special magical creatures. Things like humans can go about without interacting with these soul creatures.
That's true. I think the important fact is that we now have elemental creatures, and they are now officially living amongst humans. So
well, the North Pole has the ice creatures.
But they're still animal-like, too. Like,
But the North Pole, I think, could also be like the ice area of this elemental world, where we had those fiery ice creatures
that forge weapons. They're probably specialized in making sun shields and moon armor.
Ooh! Yes, I like that.
Yeah. And then, you know, we had those, like, lava people who, they could be very good at keeping blood volcanoes calm. Like, they are one with the earth to the point where they are, like, one of the few beings that know the world is living and are constantly trying to push that on other beings. Like, the world's living, stop hollowing it out!
Well, I mean, I think we got a pretty good idea that the world is living as soon as we start waving a pickaxe at it and a mountain appears out of nowhere.
True. I think we just ignore it.
I think it's more a thing where all life is sacred except for the earth. We don't care about this giant hunk of rock. We're gonna make it bleed to death.
Yeah. Which I says something, I'm sure, about us, but at the same time, this is a world driven by 5 gods who are demanding to be entertained.
Pretty much.
So, there's that.
Okay, so in this elemental world, what else did we build?
We have the war between day and night, which I just don't think will fit in that well. The idea, though, of creatures that can bring sunlight and darkness could be an interesting thing to add, I guess. Because we had, like, a phoenix-like bird, and then I think it was a raven or a crow.
Yes.
For the darkness.
And they just sort of, like, left trails of light and darkness.
It's just a pretty effect now. It's just not I don't think it's, like, this extreme thing where they're bringing day and night. It's just now there's a bird that brings streaks of darkness and a thing. Which, again, we have elements, like, that are doing that. Like, we have that sun-darkness thing. Like, creatures that eat light or eat darkness is not out of the realm of possibilities in this world because it exists in other things already, like the sun sword and the sun that produces darkness and stuff.
Here's an idea. So what if we changed up the sun sword and moon armor a little bit?
Okay.
Like, what if these birds, these phoenixes and ravens, were wild, dangerous creatures, and if you come across one of them, there's a very good chance that they will kill you. And the best way to defeat them, best weapons to use against them, the phoenix would be moon armor or a moon sword, and
just make them both
for
swords.
The raven it would be a sun sword.
Yeah.
And they're like creatures that are made of shadow and light, and the best way to defeat the shadow is to swing a sword. Like, well, no, the sword produces darkness. That's right.
Yeah.
Never mind on that. That doesn't work.
I just kind of like the idea that we just shrink their impact. They're just animals now. But
we could just do that.
The elemental creatures, though, I think are just a really cool part of the society. I don't know, they're almost like there's like a tyranny system of respect type thing, and so you have the 5 gods. And then you have the spirits, like the narwhals and stuff like that. And then you have these elemental creatures. And then you have humans. And then you have the monsters. And
I like this. I think this turned out well.
Yeah. And they just live together.
Now, do we want to do some ironing out and make sure everything's a little bit more organized? Or do we want to leave it off here?
Honestly, I think we're good to leave it here.
Somehow.
I thought we'd need more ironing out, but I think this world makes enough sense that someone, if they wanted to actually write a story based in it, they could.
We already kind of ironed a lot of it out as we went along.
Yeah, I think we handled that really well, and I'm proud of us, so
we just to keep this straight, we somehow combined a memory elevator with a world of giant flying, wish-granting narwhals, a man who makes jungles, a sun that produces darkness, underworld banker Satan, and sand whirlpools all in the same world.
Okay, I just want to give, like, a quick recap of this world for just in, like, a little summary, so that way people who are still, like, struggling to follow, because I can see how that can happen really easily. Alright, so what this world is, we started out with the Earth. It's just the Earth. Upon this Earth, believe it or not, the starting force was a frog. That was the first thing that existed. This frog came, and it, with the help of the narwhals it created, formed the Earth. This Earth was a living being, and upon this living being came 4 other gods. One who creates life because he is a writer and wants to write characters. Another who cooks up stories and keeps the world interesting. A demon who is in charge of the souls of people and making sure no one actually ever dies, and that they get like renewed and stuff. And then, oh gosh, and then a jungle man who likes to make creatures and nature and stuff and fill the world with specialized biomes. As the society grew and expanded and stories...
You left out Satan.
No, I did. I said Satan, who guards our souls and makes sure our lives are renewed. That's okay,
I know that the soul people, they renewed it. Anyway, keep going.
As the world grew, so the technology and the power of memory and ideas grew to such the point where inventions were crazy advanced and more biomes were being formed. And as those biomes were being formed, so was the technology to either contain them. As people started running out of space, they started drilling into the center of the Earth, and they took out chunks and threw it into the air. But because the Earth is living, those chunks took on forms and lives of themselves, circling the world in really weird ways, leaving streaks of darkness sometimes, eating sunlight, lots of weird stuff. But still the people's memories kept growing and containing to the point where they started producing life in itself beyond the 5 original gods. Life such as Santa Claus and Canas, or the fear realm and the memory realms and stuff like that. They could now access dreams and make the dreams into reality. Their minds were growing, and at some points maybe everyone would become eternal. But there was one thing in this world that is looked down upon, and that is the taking of life. We don't eat meat. We can take life in self-defense, such as if we're attacked by like night birds and day birds and stuff, but otherwise to take a life is the highest crime, and to do so will condemn you either into being forced into the life of a tree, or literally turn you into a monster, where you're then outcast into a little society thing filled with other monsters. And that, my friends, is a world that has an element of all our worlds in one.
And it somehow all managed to work.
I love this world.
Like that.
This is the greatest world ever.
I don't know how, but we made it work.
It's perfect. It's wonderful.
This is just what the heck.
And that, folks, is where we're gonna end it. We'll see you guys next week, where I think we have a world building basics, and then of course we'll be building even more worlds. I want to just thank everyone who has been watching for this year. Like, we started this and I'm like, you know what, I didn't think we'd make it for a year. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think we'd make it to the year mark. But now I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm ready to do another year. I'm excited to do.
What are we gonna do for our 100th episode for next year?
We have another 50, but at that point we'll have another 50 worlds to combine.
We could combine another 50 worlds.
Oh, we'll see.
Wow, it's
okay. You can do. If anything, I feel like this is very symbolic, because we just proved if you have enough imagination and willpower, you can make 50 worlds make sense.
Somehow.
But
even the superhero things we managed to incorporate.
I'm proud of us.
People knowing they're in a story.
I'm so happy. Like, that's a core feature, like, that they know that they're in a story. I'm just so happy about this. But we have come way over the time. I hope you guys enjoyed this special. I know I did. Thank you guys for an amazing year. We're excited for many more years of creating worlds and helping you guys create worlds too. And yeah, see you guys later. Bye.
It's the final countdown. Ba-da-dow-dow. Ba-da-dow-dow-dow. Ba-da-dow-dow. Da-da-dow-dow-dow-dow. It's the final song now. I'm not doing this anymore because they get harder each time. That that was probably the lamest way to end it. I'm not happy with that.